Today, our juicy topic is unlocking intimacy and conscious sexuality with the stunning Pauline Ryeland. In this episode of Ask the Oracle with Suzy Cherub, we welcome Pauline Ryeland, intimacy whisperer, to explore the depths of intimacy, sexuality, and conscious relationships. Pauline is a certified intimacy, sex, and libido coach and educator with expertise in Tantra, somatic sexology, NLP, and trauma healing techniques such as havening. She shares insights from her best-selling book, Empowered Conscious Sexuality, From Prude to Pleasure, where she chronicles her journey into sex therapy and discusses sacred sexuality, consent, boundaries, and healing practices. Hi, beautiful Pauline. How are you, my love?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Really good.
See you again.
So good to see you again. We met up in Brisbane at a conference and I was immediately drawn to you and I thought, oh my goodness, I've got to get Pauline on the podcast. So here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's dive deep into these juicy questions. I can't wait. I'm so curious to get some of these insights and answers from you. So, what led you to become an intimacy, sex, and libido coach, my love?
Hmm. Well, usually when people ask me that, I go read the book because it's always an easy answer. But look, it wasn't something I consciously set out to do. It was just like little snippets kept dropping in to what I would call my higher consciousness, my higher self. And I was always like, I don't understand what that is. And I would just push it away. So I was going through my own sacred sexuality workshops and things that I was attending with a shamanic practice that I became involved with for about 5 years as an apprentice. And it was during one of these workshops, it was between week one and level 1 and 2. So level 1 was about your relationship to sexuality to yourself, and then the second one was around your relationship to sexuality with a partner. And I was in the most expanded space. I was definitely on a different timeline, and I just had this thing drop in that you're a sexual healer, and I was like, I don't know what that means. And I just pushed it away.
Yeah.
And then straight after that, I think I did my NLP training, which is neuro linguistic programming. So that's,
Yes.
people that don't know, that's where we're looking at things on the subconscious and talking to the subconscious to bring about change on the conscious level. And in that, we did a presentation, platform skills, and I said, oh, I'm going to talk about sex just as a laugh. So that was what I presented on, and I wanted to present, let's talk about sex, baby, the salt and pepper song. I was literally mucking around. I don't even know where that came from. And then fast forward several years later, I'm walking out on stage at Woodford Folk Festival, which is a huge
Wow.
festival up here in Queensland on Sunshine Coast.
Congratulations, my love. Yeah,
Thank you. The
so
first
good.
time in 20 years at that event had anyone talked about sex, and I walked out with the Salt and Pepper song playing to a crowd of 350 plus people. Like, it was a rock star moment. It was hilarious. But prior to that, I was going through my processes with my girlfriend to find out what my niche was, and I knew I didn't want to be a business coach. So I'm going health, well-being, and she just kept like slamming a fist in her hand, barking at me, going boring. And I felt energetically like my back was against the wall. And the next thing I blurted out, sex just came tumbling out of my mouth. And she goes, that's it. You know more about sex than anybody I know. And I was just a bit like, oh my God, I don't know about that. And I went into all this perturbation for the next few weeks. And then I'm like, you know what? I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
I love it.
As an NLP practitioner, I look at what your issue is, look at where you want to be. 9 times out of 10, I can tell, but not always.
Yeah.
Your outcome. And then look at the steps I need to get you there. And that's a formula I still use today, 14 years later. So obviously it works.
Yeah. I mean, I absolutely love NLP. I'm an NLP practitioner myself.
Yeah.
And I think doing that really deep, unconscious reframing is
Yeah.
so powerful. And I know some of the practices are just incredible. So that's another thing you and I have in common. But from your perspective, I'm assuming it would be like really just so healing and so transformative. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like I can give you all the practices to sort your issues out, like the physical practices, but
Yeah.
I really truly believe that even though it's somatic based, that if we don't change what's going on in the headspace, it'll peter out again. We have to make the changes on in what's going on in the head, and that's also about releasing your emotions and your limiting beliefs around yourself. Make phenomenal changes just doing belief changes on people, like transformational, you know. So, oh, there's my book.
Oh, yeah, you have to do the change on a deeper level. Otherwise, you're just going to go round and round in circles. Here I have the most amazing book, Empowered Conscious Sexuality, From Prude to Pleasure. Welcome to the Pleasure Zone. This is an incredibly amazing book. Can I read you something from your book, my love?
Sure.
Here we go. Okay. It's only short. When we're not present, we're not connected. When we're not connected to ourselves, how can we truly connect with another? Beautiful.
Pretty simple, really, isn't it?
Pretty simple. Love
Yeah.
this book. It's so, so great. Can you tell us more about Empowered Conscious Sexuality and its impact? Because it is an Amazon bestseller. It's a great book. It's so needed out there in the world. So, yay. Yeah. Tell us more about it.
Well, it was several years back. All my friends were writing books, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so not writing a book. Too hard basket." That was where I was at.
Yeah.
And then I was on the beach one day doing something, and I got this download to writing a book, and I was like literally arguing with my higher self. It's not the first time I've done that. Going, really, I don't want to. Okay, if I have to, then it has to be educational as well. I've got to like weave it in. So that's what it was. It's really about my journey, my story of my spiritual journey, I guess, combined in with the sexual journey, and then
Yeah.
going into the practices, all the different practices that I use, going into more depth, giving examples, client testimonials, and examples of situations, and then sort of unpacking that a whole lot more and going into things like, conscious relationships and boundaries and trauma and things like that as well. So it sort of is my journey, but then going into the practical side. And there's lots of tips in there, of course, that you can do if you're on your own or with a partner. So it's got quite a lot of stuff in there already. Not all my secrets, but it's got a fair amount of them. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I love that there's practical techniques and tips, that it's from that really multidimensional level. It is that sacred sexuality, your journey, your story. There's so much wisdom in your story. I noticed that it's got a lot of depth as well, because you talk about, your own personal story, your own personal trauma. And I think it's just an incredibly amazing book. It's an easy read. It's not like, yeah, I just found it, yeah, it's wonderful. So congratulations. So
Thank
good.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that very personal share that you mentioned with my own trauma. When I was writing it, I had a complete, utter meltdown in the lounge room, and I was
Yeah.
screaming in the lounge room and having tears, and I was quite hysterical, going, "Why? Why are you doing this? Why are you sharing this to the whole world?" Because of course the whole world was going to read my book, and I was just having this moment of complete meltdown, and then I got it, my
Right.
journey and my experience to share, because so many women don't understand the subtleties of abuse. So it's to give that little bit of light to go, no, you're not wrong. It's not your shame. This is a manipulation from the shadow side, taken advantage of, whatever way you want to look at it. So
Yeah.
to be able to give that little bit of light to go, you're not alone. We've all, pretty well, most women have been through it, and to have
Yes.
an understanding about it, and then what you need to do to unpack that. So in that moment, I was like, okay, I can breathe. And then actually, I rang my trauma trainer, who I've done
Right.
training with.
Yeah.
I need to book a session with you. She goes, "Oh, you okay?" I said, "No, but we'll talk about it in the session." So I just did that final clearing on it. So that was quite good in the end.
There's so much strength in vulnerability, and your courage and your honesty, in the book. It just shines through, and I think it's just. I love that you explained that. So many, people out there, it's like, did that really happen? Like, that subtle abuse that you talked about.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I think it needs to come, you know, it's not an easy thing, but if it can come to the surface,
yeah.
then you can begin to heal. Yeah.
Yeah, and the process that we do, that I do, the havening, is a really, really gentle process. And I think it's, what I notice when I do my intake with a prospective new client, I ask if there's been any trauma or abuse. And sometimes I get a no, not really. I go, well, what does a no, not really look like?
Yeah.
Tell me. And I'm like, because people can't recognize it.
I think you're so right. I think there's, yeah, I mean, I know it comes in different forms, but yeah, I think you're right. It's just almost every woman I've spoken to has had some experience that yeah, hasn't been fabulous. So the next question for you is: what are some common intimacy challenges for couples and individuals? What sort of comes up? Like, what are the most common ones that you come across?
Okay, one of the most common ones is loss of libido for women. Just
Yes.
that they used to be really sexual, used to be really active, and they're just like tapped out, don't want to know about it. And I know that we can turn that switch off because I've experienced it myself. At the end of my marriage, I had no libido. I wasn't interested, and I'd get into bed, and I'd get the tap on the shoulder because I always say we all love that, don't we? Not. And every now and then I'd go, I'd rack off, and other times I'd go, yeah, okay, and we would have sex, and it'd be amazing, and I'd be like, oh my god, why don't I want to have sex more often? I couldn't join the pieces, but I was miserable in my marriage. I didn't realize it.
Right.
There's a
Yeah.
day after our relationship broke up, and I was in middle of another breakdown. I don't have breakdowns all the time, but these are like key pivotal moments. Um, you know, Freaking out, going to be a single mum. What am I going to do? How am I going to cope? How am I going to
Yeah.
survive? In the middle of all of that and tears, I started feeling this tingling sensation around my pelvic area, and I was like twitching a bit, going, "Oh, what's going on?" And then it clicked. Oh my god, my libido's come back on steroids. So that it was in that moment I was like, "Wow, I've turned my libido off. There's no way I'm ever turning it back on." I had no idea what any of that meant. So this is well before I became a sex therapist, but I knew. So we have the capacity to turn our libido off if things aren't working out in whatever way it is. But it might not have anything to do with the partner. It could be to do with unresolved stuff that you've got within yourself. So it could relate back to trauma that you haven't.
Right.
It could go back to when you were a kid and you had a traumatic upbringing, or those horrible things that happened, or that you experienced, or you fell pregnant a lot and had lots of miscarriages, or you've had abortions and you can't get pregnant now, and all the things that you've had in your lifetime. Doesn't have to be menopause. Like menopause, going into menopause can be the things that can trip it up, start to trigger it.
Yeah.
Not always the key reason. It could be lots of other things. Sometimes it is just the fact that you're going through the menopausal change, which is like, 30-year period almost, 20 to 30 years. So it's about finding out what those key things are in your background so we can start addressing them. So
Often what you think the problem is, it's quite often deeper than that, isn't it?
yeah, and also internal pain is going to switch you off because it's our body protecting us. No, it's going to hurt when I have sex, so I'm going to just turn off and have no desire. And so I actually fix that internal pain. I will lay claim to that. I will, like, 100% hand on heart, I fix that stuff. So yes, so that's a big thing.
The libido. Yes. The lack of
Libido,
libido.
not orgasming at all. Like if you
Yeah.
can't orgasm, there's a block there, there's a disconnect there. What is it?
Yeah.
So maybe you're a control freak. There's a reason you're a control freak. What's happened in your past that's
That's
affected.
right.
So they're the main things with the women, and with the guys, of course, it's erectile challenges. Not maintaining an erection, losing it. I work with that. I work with guys with premature ejaculation issues that are like
Yeah.
want to actually sort it,
Yeah.
impacting their relationship, enlarged prostate, Peyronie's disease, which is a condition where the penis suddenly has a bend in it. And
Oh,
that can,
really? Yeah.
yeah, that can get quite problematic, not always, but can do. And nerve damage. So I've worked with men that have had nerve damage from surgery on their penises. So I work with nerve damage as well. That's part of the scar remediation work that I do.
That's such transformational work. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I had a couple years ago that came to me. They were only young, and he was very young to have the Peyronie's. He'd had 2 surgeries on his penis. He was due for a third, and I just said, "Not on my watch. You are not having that third. I'm going to fix this." And they were
Yeah.
so disconnected from themselves. They didn't believe me, but they were like, "We've got no other options." They didn't like. She was like a brick wall. Um, and the first session with him, like, I'm actually working on his penis with gloves to break down adhesions, and I could already see and feel the shifts. And
Wow.
I just said to her, "You've got to let me. You've got to trust me. There's progress." And eventually, they got back to having sex. It's like, yes,
How wonderful.
long time, but they were. I give them that. Because of their finances, it really stretched out a very, very long time. But they were committed, so I was pretty impressed.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
How does Tantra and somatic sexology help in healing and pleasure?
yeah. So somatic sexological body work, a little bit different to sexology, but all the practices that I teach are somatic based, so it's a body based learning. So we're creating new cellular memory in the body. Our cellular memory holds memory, so we're recreating that. We're realigning
Yeah.
neurological pathways between the connections between the brain, the heart, and the genitals. We're just getting you connected in lots of different ways. And sexological body work is really a combination of tantra, um, mindfulness practice, yoga, a couple of other things. So it's a bit of a blend of things. And then the tantra itself, the way I differentiate tantra is I guess it's a way of life, it's a way of communication, it's a way of getting more present with each other on that side of things. But then there's the sexual stuff, so that you can take your sexual level to each other deeper, working with breath. But I teach that to everyone individually to connect to themselves and basically fire up that sexual energy by doing different practices that start layering in that and getting that sexual energy moving, and helping men become multiple orgasmic, because they can separate ejaculation, orgasm. It's two separate things that have collapsed over time. So I can teach them to separate that. Working, it's all to do with breath work and just getting that sexual energy moving through the body instead of having it like just trapped around the pelvic floor area. So
Yeah.
that to me is what Tantra is about,
Oh,
teaching
I
that.
love that so much. Breath work is so amazing. And, Tantra and somatic healing has been happening for thousands and thousands of years. This question's just come to me. Do you believe this is like ancestral or past life memory for you? Do you believe that you may have been a sensuality priestess in past lives?
Look, I don't know. I haven't gone back to a past life that has told me that, but it could possibly be. I reckon
Yeah.
I have. I've done a bit of past life regression work, and I don't always believe it because I don't have a connection to whatever I'm seeing or feeling or experiencing and sharing.
Yes.
There's a disconnect there for me. I don't resonate with it, so it's just something to come up.
Yes.
So I find it really hard to link the two to where I am
Yeah. Yeah. It's
heading.
the reason I asked the question is because you know that I'm clairvoyant and I got the most incredible vision of you in, you know, almost like a temple surrounded by stunning red roses and just the light coming in and just so beautiful.
Yeah,
The work you do is so sacred,
yeah.
so sacred. So, what practices can people try to enhance their intimacy and connection, my love?
I guess there's a couple of things. It's about getting out of your head and into your body.
Yeah.
So a really easy one that I can share now would be, closing your eyes, taking 3 big deep breaths into your belly, bringing your awareness down to your feet, and then just wriggling your feet, and then bring them into stillness, and just take that deep breath into your belly, and just slowly moving up your body, like just shaking your legs, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's the movement gets you aware of that. I've got another one where it's more of a meditative space, but just over on the platform we're using, that would be the easiest,
Yeah.
and shake your hands and you come into stillness. But when you finish, you go all the way up to the top, you include your genitals. Don't
Yes.
don't skip over them. Do some pelvic
Yeah.
squeeze your butt cheeks, so you're aware of every part of your body. Push your belly out, shake your booty, shake it back, shake your
So good.
shoulders, all of these things that
Yeah.
come back to the stillness after each piece of the anatomy, and take that big deep breath. And then when you finish, take 3 deep breaths into your belly and then normal breaths. You don't want to just finish and
Yeah.
stop, because that's the somatic part where you're imprinting that memory in the cellular level, is by taking those 3 deep breaths and locking it in. That's creating that imprint. So that's one thing that you can do to get out of your head and into your body. Grounding activities, stamping your feet, getting out on the grass. They're all things that ground you. But I think that's the best one for getting out of your head and into your body.
I think so.
Too often when we're
Like,
having sex, we're in our heads going, "Oh God, I wish he'd go a bit faster," or "He's not doing it right. Can he do it like this?" Blah 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 blah. And then he's like going, "Oh, I hope I don't lose my erection," or, "Oh God, I've been, is it time now? Like, I've finished doing oral. I want to do this," like
yeah.
la, 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 going on. So I teach people to get out of their heads and into their bodies, so that then so that they're just in that flow, and it allows that sexual energy to move. And then you're like going, "Oh, is this where I'm at? Okay, I'm ready for that now."
That's so
That's
beautiful.
free thinking. It's a more of a getting into the flow of it.
Like more instinctual, more flowy, more
100%.
out of the head, really embodying and allowing that beautiful kind of euphoric energy to run through your whole body. I love the whole shaking practice. I'm definitely going to try that. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So I have to ask you, because I'm really curious. I did have a quick Google of it, but firstly, what is havening?
Havening is the practice for trauma. So havening, I'll teach this one now. If
Yeah.
everyone who's watching just does that with me, this is one of 3 moves that we do. So when we do this, it's the psychokinetic touch. And I think I said that right, maybe not. But what it is this calms the nervous system down and activates the oxytocin, the dopamine, and the serotonin. So it calms your system down, flooding it with all the happy hormones. So when we're havening, I get people to do the different moves, and then it's a working session. So you are going to be havening for the whole session. I ask you to share with me about your trauma, whatever it was. And you'll give me the information, and I might ask a few questions. And then I'll go, okay, if you look back on that time now, what would you score it out of 10? 10 out of 10 being really horrific. So they might give it a 10. So then I ask them some nice things that they like to do and different questions. And then it's closed eye process. So then I go through a round, and basically I'm asking questions and getting you to talk about nice things, and I might get you to do some silly things. It's a little bit of a brain twister activity. People laugh sometimes, like, "Oh my God, I don't know how to do that. Not very good at math. I don't know. And I just give it a crack. No pressure,
Yeah.
get it right." But then I'll bring them out of that round and I go, okay, now looking back on that scenario that you described at the beginning, what would you score it? So that 10 drops to a 7, to a 5, to a 2, to 0. What
Right.
it's doing, it's actually removing the emotional landscape and it's unlocking the amygdala in the brain. So it's unlocking that flight, fight, freeze response. It's
Wow.
scientific. It's a scientific. I always tell people I had to do a science exam to pass that, and it was very hard. So
Yeah. Wow. I love the whole, spirit and science coming together, spirit and matter. Like, I think, physical embodiment and it's just what you showed me there just felt so
oh, so
soothing,
calming.
it felt
Even if you're
soothing.
just feeling stressed about something happening, just doing
Yeah.
that, like it's amazing. There's lots of clients that have stood out for me, but there's one young woman, early 30s, wanted to have a baby, was having massive panic attacks twice a day, minimum, like that would stop her in her tracks. And she was a real projector of horrible things happening. And she'd wake up at
Right.
night in terror doom mode. And so we did the session, and then I always check in on my clients a couple of days afterwards because it can, trigger things. And she said, look, and I get them to do that for 3 days, quite
Yeah.
a lot, about 6 times a day.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I embed into the subconscious a mantra of how they would like to
Yes.
feel. So I get them to do that and say the mantra. And then, so she said to me, oh, I felt like I was going to have a panic attack. So I did my havening hands and said my mantra, and then I was fine. I went, great. So when we start libido coaching next week, I want you to continue to do that, but if it happens again, get a journal out and write down the day, the time, what you'd eaten, what had been going on, just so I can see if it happens a few times, if there's a pattern.
If
And then
there's a
we can
trigger or
look,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
then we can look at that pattern and unpack that a little bit more. By the time I had a session with her 4 days later, so it was a week later, she had not had one panic attack, not one. She was completely
Wow.
transformed. I actually called her the Queen of Chill at the end of that session. It was like a whole personality change. It was phenomenal. Blew my mind.
That's wonderful.
That's on Zoom. I could see it
Yeah,
on
that
Zoom.
beautiful metamorphosis when you've done
Yeah.
that work. It's a little bit like anchoring in with NLP. Is it like that kind of, you're
Oh,
anchoring it? Not really.
no, it's completely
Not
different.
really. It's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, we are actually unlocking the amygdala, that flight, fight, freeze part of the
Right. Yes,
unlocking.
that makes so much sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, how does subconscious beliefs shape our experience of intimacy? Like, those
Oh,
hidden unconscious limiting beliefs or patterns or
way.
negative mantras, negative self-talk. I don't know. I don't know. How does
In
that kind of shape our experiences of intimacy
in lots
intimacy
of
do you think?
ways, because it can, if you don't love yourself or think you're good enough, you're already sabotaging. Um,
Yeah.
and then, like for a man it's with the erection issues, they get on this merry-go-round in the head, and so they feel like really emasculated in their masculinity. So it's about flipping that belief to that they're empowered in who they are in their masculinity. Those sorts of things, because that's the thing that takes a hit with them. For women, it can be body image. They're not who they
Yeah. I
were.
can relate to that.
They've gone through changes. I mean, yeah, I'm no longer a size 8 anymore either, but I've come to accept that, as much as I
Yes.
don't really want to be an 8. Size 10 would be nice. But you know what I mean? Like we do that. So all those things come in. Um, you know, Self-conscious about themselves and their bodies,
Yes.
their beliefs around themselves, around orgasming, not orgasming. Like I had
Yes.
one
Yeah.
client in our intake. The first thing she said to me, "Blowjobs are disgusting." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I just made a little note of that. Anyway, and then we did some belief work, and I always look first off at the self-love, value
Yes. Yeah.
stuff to get that flipped, because there's always a level of that with some people. Even the most confident women have something in there. And I
Yes.
said, "Oh, we've got time for another one. What could we do?" I went, "Oh, I know what we could do." And I brought that one up, and she went, "Oh." So we flipped that belief of blowjobs are disgusting to oral sex with the person I love is a really beautiful expression of love.
Oh, wonderful. I love that reframe.
Yeah. So it's a reframe, do the process. And then at the end, I said, "So what do you believe now?" And she went, "Penises are fun." And we had a giggle. And I said, "Right, because she'd come from a DV background, she
Yes.
met a guy not long after we started the coaching, and he was being very, understanding of her process, but like all men, just starting to push a nudge a little bit, but gently. And I said, "So when are you seeing him?" "Oh, Friday night." Well, it was Wednesday or something. I said, "Okay, so when you're having sex, if you go to have oral sex, like I said, it's not even going to be a conscious thought. It will just happen. So if it happens, can you send me a text of a banana emoji?" Like, we had a giggle about it. She went, "Sure." So 2 days later, 3 days later, I get a
You get
banana
the
emoji.
banana. So good. It's like, yay, I got
Yeah,
the
yeah. So
banana.
that's how quick the beliefs can shift. Yeah.
Wow. Love that
And
so much.
even another woman that was turning 40, had never had an orgasm, married 20 plus years, loved her husband, played the game, but she fully checked out of her body even. She wasn't even in the head. She was like out here somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Bit of abuse by her grandfather. She used to wear big baggy clothes. She'd been through anorexia, and she had the belief that she didn't. Who the hell was she to even enjoy sex? So we flipped that to, "I'm empowered in who I am as a sexual woman." Next session, she walked in a t-shirt and a mini skirt, and I'm like, "What's going on, girlfriend?" She's like, "Oh my God, she's doing this the whole time." I'm going, "What?" Flicking through my notes to see what we'd done.
Yeah.
Went, "Well, I walked into the lounge room and I saw my husband. I grabbed him by the hand and I led him to the bedroom. We had the best sex we've ever had in my entire life." "Oh my God, I can't believe I did that." And I'm like, "And how's that a problem for you now?" It was like, light bulb moment. She got it.
Yes.
In 20 plus years, she had never, ever initiated sex, even just to initiate it, and then to go on and have really great sex was just phenomenal. But this is just
So good.
a belief change.
Yeah, yeah.
Pretty
So
cool.
that sort of leads really beautifully into the next question. So what advice would you give to someone struggling with libido loss?
Reach out to me for a start, because
Yeah.
it's not something that just really comes back if you don't like. You can be lucky and it can just come back automatically. But there's a reason libido gets switched off, and it's just to find that magic thing of what it is that's actually switched it off. So,
Yes.
you can start, you can read my book, you can, start doing some things on your own, but I sometimes often don't think that that's enough, that you need someone to help you work through it.
Yeah. I've noticed when I do things like, yin yoga or dancing or getting back into my body, then that can kind of help me. Is that a thing?
Yeah, absolutely it can be, because you're getting more
Yeah,
connection into your body, but it just depends on why the libido's been turned off in the first place.
I get it.
And if it's an incident or a relationship that you're not over, or you had a narcissist boyfriend or a partner or a DV situation, or there's been abuse or trauma and emotional stuff that you haven't dealt with, then that's going to be a big part of it. If it's just you've had a great life, got a great relationship, and suddenly you're in perimenopause and you're not interested,
Right. Yeah.
it's a menopausal related thing. So it's a little bit
Yeah.
different. So what the difference with the work that I do is, I don't have to understand hormones at all, because I'm actually tapping you into your sexual energy to get
Right.
that. That's the key difference. Yeah, we do the headspace mindset stuff, but
Yes.
I'm tapping into the sexual
It's
energy.
energetic. I
Get
love
that
energetic
fire,
work.
get that
Getting the
fired up.
fire. Yeah.
Yeah,
Igniting the fire, that
yeah. So
fire within that
that's
beautiful kind of
incorporating.
sacral chakra. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's incorporating the tantric and the somatic sexological bodywork and the practices from there. So
So
that's
good. Yeah.
well, I believe makes a difference. That and the
Huge.
mindset. Yeah, sure.
Mindset and just, yeah, igniting that inner passion, that inner fire. Love it. How can people create safe, conscious conversations around sexuality? Like I know a lot of, that I do a lot of readings for people, and I've noticed that they find it challenging to talk to their partner about, you know, whether or not they're unhappy or what's going on, or yeah,
Yeah, look, it is hard, and it's about, because most of the time we're not present with each other, and how often do you have deep and meaningfuls with your partner, and how often are you having just conversations around house, kids, life, general
yeah,
surface level stuff,
yes,
when you're actually having deeper conversations. So definitely it's harder for that. But I think it's about picking your timing and making sure that you're not drinking when you do have the conversation, because that will come from a different energetic space. I always say bring things up over a meal where you're facing each other and you're having just general chit chat conversation, and always bring it back to yourself, not you go,
not
oh,
like as in judging or you've got it
yeah,
wrong or yeah,
I feel. So it could be, you know, we're not engaging in sex very often. I feel really sad that our sex life is diminished. It makes me feel like something's missing, and I'm not sure what we can do about it. So always bring it back to your experience and how you feel and how it's affecting you, not like, I'm really sad that we're not having a sex life and you never initiate it. It's always me, or something like that, because then it's
I get
shifting
it.
the blame onto them, and then guess what? The walls come
Yeah,
up.
wall goes up.
Yeah, so you've got to really be
Exactly.
mindful of how you broach it.
That's
Um,
such great advice, Pauline.
yeah,
Yeah,
because
you know, yeah,
it's a touchy subject. Like, there might be a reason he's not initiating it. Maybe he's not initiating it because he's thinking, well, maybe I'm going to lose my erection.
right. Yeah,
Oh, I could get an erection fine when I masturbate, but as soon as I get intimate with my partner, goes.
interesting.
He
Yes.
won't initiate because he's scared that that's because it's on that merry-go-round. And then there's lots of other reasons. That's just one that popped into my head. So
Yeah.
it's about how you communicate it. I've had couples that have had, I guess, neurodiverse kids that they're managing with different special needs, and then they're both got their own idiosyncrasies, and it's about respecting each other and respecting each other's boundaries. And then he dropped the thing, we don't have sex, I'm going to leave you, I'm going to start looking at solicitors and that. And then I talk to him and go, well, you need to, that might be how you're feeling, but you need to refrain from saying that, because you're not going to get any sex or any intimacy if you're dropping that into the conversation.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
It's just going to close off completely. You have to
Yes.
promise me that you do not talk about this stuff until I've completed her coaching.
Yes. Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, yeah, but he didn't honour that. So it's like, it's about having to honour and respect each other as well.
I love the whole, you know, respectful communication. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And, you know, it's not useful, is it, to be pointing the finger, right?
No.
Yeah. Or
Because everyone's got a part to
threatening,
play.
threatening if this doesn't happen, this is going to happen, like, yeah.
Well, everyone's got a part that they play in it
Yeah.
to some point.
Yeah.
It's about how do you look at the situation and approach it if you're in a relationship as a couple. I mean, I work with tons of single people, tons. Like, people think, oh, no, I don't need to see you, Angel, I'm in a relationship. I go, well, no, I work with stacks of single people because they know that there's a specific issue that's holding them
Yes.
back or blocking them or getting them in their way, getting in their way.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just about knowing that there's an issue there and looking outside of yourself to try and sort it out and fix it.
Brilliant. Love it.
Mm.
What's your vision for the future of intimacy and sexual empowerment?
Oh,
Big
God.
question, right?
Well, I guess when I got into this work is, my goal and my mission is to turn everyone on in the planet. If everyone was having orgasms every day, there wouldn't be any need for any war and any other shit show that's going on in the universe. But
So
really,
true.
my whole goal is to awaken people to experience more pleasure. Like, for me, pleasure comes very easily, always has. Yes, I've had my other stuff, but for some reason, the orgasming side of things was fine. And that's developed and evolved even more as I've gotten older. So it's like, I can know I have an amazing experience. I want to know that you're having that experience and that you're having that experience, because it's possible for everybody. So definitely that's one of my missions, is to awaken everyone to their full sexual potential. Because some women will go, oh, I had an orgasm, and then they stop. And I go, well, what would happen if you kept going? Would you maybe have another orgasm? So it's like they've done their quota, tick. It's like, well, might be another one there. Like,
Box.
you don't know, So
Yeah,
it's
interesting.
like we can sabotage ourselves in that respect. And then I guess with couples, my goal is to bring that conscious connection in and to get that deeper presence and to build that deeper intimacy, so that they're going to have another 20, 30 years on their relationship that's going to be even better than the first lot of years.
And it would have to improve other areas of your relationship too, because intimacy comes on in all different ways, right? Like even just mind to mind, heart to heart, soul to soul, body to body. Like, intimacy is multidimensional. So it has to deepen other aspects of your relationship as well. Do you feel it?
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, some people think intimacy is sex.
Yeah.
Penis, penis and vagina, that's intimacy. It's like, well, no, that's not.
Yeah.
Intimate steps and intimate connection before that's the end result.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
that thing of intimacy starts, if you're in a relationship, starts at the beginning of the day. It's about being kind to each other and considering each other and being a contribution to each other. It's that thing of, I don't know, maybe you're working at home and doing something and a cup of tea appears.
Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
any question, they're just
Kindness, thoughtfulness.
thinking about the other person.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And so often that might happen and you just take it for granted. So it's about appreciating all those little things. And often I with couples that are really fractured, I'll go get them to go back to when they first met. What were the things
Yes.
that person?
Yes.
We forget, and then we start going into a journey of expectation and expectation,
Or tit for tat,
judgment, yeah, and that's just going to end up being crap.
Yes. Yeah.
It's got to be an honouring and respectful space, and that co-contribution.
Such a great answer. This has been such a great interview. Thank you so much for coming on. I'd showed you earlier before we jumped on together, but I pulled a card from the Oracle of Delphi, and it's the actual love maker card. I don't know if you can see it. It's beautiful. And the words are love maker, love, give, receive, and be. And she's just so open to receive. Like, it's like she's in full surrender, and it's a beautiful, almost like a full embrace of pleasure, like
Yeah.
opening the portal, the sacred portal to pleasure. And she's pretty happy, and she's pretty kind of like, yeah, I don't know. Like, it was just, I love that that came through for us today. So appropriate, right?
Very appropriate. Very
So
appropriate.
beautiful. Now, I've got your links will be in the show notes. We've got Pauline's got a website, www.paulineryeland.com. She's the Intimacy Whisperer on Instagram at Intimacy Whisperer. She's also on Facebook, and I highly guarantee that you look this incredibly amazing, sensual, wonderful, wise woman up, because, I think if you can really deepen the intimacy and sensuality in your life, it's just going to make such a difference to almost every area of your life, really. So love it. Look up the book, Empowered Conscious Sexuality. It's such a great book. Thank you so much, my love, for coming on today. I loved it.
Fun. I always love doing the podcast because there are always so many elements that are different because it comes from your questions and what you're curious about. So it's always a little bit different, which is always good. So thank you for inviting me.
Oh, I loved it so much. I'm looking forward to getting you back on again. And I know that we're going to be in contact again. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.